probably knows that the most frequently searched term that brings people to my site is CLE Math, or Christian Light Education Math. So I wanted to do that as my next spotlight. If you don't know, spotlights were inspired because when I'm looking for new curriculum, I like to be able to actually get my hands on them and talk to someone who uses it, find out how they use it, what they like, what they don't. And that's hard to find those kind of reviews sometimes. So that's what inspired me to do these. I have a playlist with other ones that I will link up here and down below. So if you are, curriculum shopping, 'tis the season, be sure to go check them out. And if you have any curriculum that you would like to see, let me know, leave me a comment or send me a message, and I will check. If I have it, I will certainly put it on my list. So let's get started. I'm going to talk about it first, and then I'll show you inside of it. These workbooks, there's 10 in a grade level. They cost $4 each, or if you buy the whole set of 10, it's $35 a year. The only place that I've ever seen you can buy it is from their website, which is christianlightpublications.com. I will be sure to link that below as well. Spiral approach. Some of the pros on it. They do a really nice job each lesson of introducing new things and reviewing other things with a very incremental approach to the new things of building. It's a really nice mixture of the two. Another pro is that it's pretty easy to be done independently versus a more teacher-oriented program like Right Start or Singapore, those type of programs. So it's very easy for them to do on their own. Even when they're not readers, I'll show you that in the level 1 and 2, there's still a lot they can do without being readers. I've only used levels 1 and 2, and when my 7-year-old was using the level 2, he was not yet reading very fluently, so we were able to make it work. There is another pro is that there's a strong emphasis on a mastery of the basic facts, the multiplication, subtraction, those things that I think can be, the mastery of them can kind of be lost in some programs, as far as like the repetition of doing them over and over and over. That's one of my complaints that I've had with Singapore and Math Mammoth is I feel like that sometimes can be a little not necessarily enough, in my opinion. Another pro is that it's very well priced. Like I said, $4 each, especially if you have if you don't want necessarily to commit to the whole year, you can get just 1 or 2 to try out. And then one more pro is that it's very easy to take with you, which is one of the reasons I actually purchased this. We moved in the fall, and last summer we started school early to make up for the time we need off, and we did a lot of car school or schooling at the grandparents or whatever, and so I wanted something that was really portable and would hold up to it, so these were great for that. So if you are on the go a lot, these are nice since they're small. They're not heavy. The cover, it's paper, but it's a really thick paper. Not quite a cardstock, but I don't know what the thickness of it would be, but not a cardstock, but nice quality. So those are some of the pros. Some of the cons that I thought of, some of the lessons are really unevenly linked, I found, especially in level 2, which if you are a person who has the mindset you need to complete 1 lesson a day, some of the lessons can be really long. Now, if that's not a problem for you, then it's not necessarily a con, but I wanted to throw that out there. My the biggest con to me, while I think it is very good about, teaching the basics of how to do things, I think it really lacks the teaching of the understanding of the concepts, and how you get why you do what you do to solve them, which is something I think Singapore and programs like Singapore Math Mammoth really excel in. So to me, that was a big con. Another con for some is that it's a consumable product. So you will have to buy new ones each year if you are going to use it with more than one student. So this is good if you want a mastery approach to math. If you're on the go, like I said, this is a nice one to consider. If you want a very traditional approach to math, this is a good one to consider. If those are not your preferences, then obviously it's not, and that's really kind of some of the reasons why we moved away from it. I knew going into it that it wasn't going to be my favorite, but I wanted an open and go, get it done, portable program that it wasn't going to require a lot of me for it. But I'll talk about that more. It is very easy to implement, open and go. You don't need to do any prep for it. So those are some advantages if you are finding yourself spread thin on the other subjects. Do I use it now? For my 8-year-old now, my second grader, no, I do not. He's really difficult to place with math, the way his mind works. And so I knew this wasn't going to be a great approach for him. But like I said, I needed something that was going to be a get it done type of program. But because he learns really unevenly, it was really hard to find a good level for him. So it may have worked better if I had just gone with another level. But because because of the way it does it, it was just really hard to find where to fit him in at. So I do not use it for him. He just needed a different approach to math. If you're wondering, right now we are using Singapore and Beast Academy for his math, which is going pretty well. We had tried a mastery approach before and it had been a complete failure, but it's going better now. So for what it's worth, Matthew, we are finishing up what I bought, because I bought I think 4 or 5 books for him at the beginning. So I'm finishing those up, and then we will switch to Math Mammoth because I own it. I will say that he is kindergarten, young kindergarten, and the level 1 has been totally perfect for him. So do be sure to take the placement tests, which are free on their website, to see where your child might actually fit. Because I looked at the first grade thinking, it's probably not going to be too much for him, but he's kindergarten, but it's been totally fine. So be sure to check that out. Anything else? The basic shipping is quick on their website. I think it's a $4 or $4.50 shipping, so you don't need to, unless you're in a rush, you don't need to pay for the higher shipping. Like I said, their placement test is online, so be sure to do that. And then if you're still not quite sure where to place, they have samples of every book, of each, I'm pretty sure it's for each book within each level. So be sure to really poke around and see if the level that the placement test puts you at is really the level that you need. And one last thing before we go into it is there is a teacher's guide available. I did not buy the teacher's guide, and I haven't had a problem with it. If you're looking at a higher level, then you may want to. I just realized I didn't say they do have levels for grades 1 through 12. So depending on what you're looking for. There are also different supplements that are available, like some flashcards. We didn't buy the flashcards. I have some. Plus we use some different apps and websites for math facts, so I didn't feel the need to. But I did for my kindergartner they have a counting chart that's laminated, 1 to 100 on one side and then 101 to 200 on the other side. I did buy that, and I was glad I did. We used it with practicing, and we played different games with it, with dry erase markers and whatever. And I think it was under $3, and that was well worth the price of that. They also have it for the level 2, but we did not buy that one. And for my 2nd grade student, that was fine. I think that's all. Let's take a look inside of it now. And we'll start with the level 1. This is this number 102, so the 2nd book in it. Table of contents. Okay. Now, each lesson in the 1st grade level has a different way to count to the number that corresponds to the lesson. They practice with tens blocks. There's tally marks and bunches. They use like groups of 10, that kind of thing. So it's a nice little practice up there. Then they start out with new fact, some kind of a story problem. I'm assuming the story problem is in the teacher's guide. I just have my son make up a story problem to go with the fact. He likes that. Then it moves into practice. There are sections like this one where you're supposed to use something presumably from the teacher's guide, where you read numbers, for example. I just make up things for them. I'll say a number and he'll write it down, since we didn't buy the teacher's guide. So if you're adaptable, if things like that throw you off, you may want to really consider the teacher's guides. And I believe there are 2 teacher's guide for each level. What I think I remember. There is a lot of practice with number lines from the 1st grade, from the 1st books, which I really appreciated that. Okay. And then section on I can do this. When we started, my kindergartner was not writing his numbers well, so as you can see, a lot of this is in my handwriting. We've since progressed, but that's why that is. They do a lot of practice with writing their numbers, such, which I really appreciate. Whoa, sorry. They also introduce money early on, and then a new math fact, and then a little goose telling you to stop. Now, with each lesson, there is a speed drill in the back to practice with it. There are 15 in this level, or at this one. They add to it each time. So that is a lesson, and that's a pretty typical lesson with them. There are 2 quizzes in each book. We don't do quizzes at this age, but they are on there. They're pretty similar to the lessons, so it's easy to wouldn't be difficult for the kids. It's not something new to them. And then there is also a test, which I think we took out. We took it out this time. It's stapled in the middle of the book. So it's a cumulative test. So you can see they start working pretty early on with that. They incorporate geometry. And then some lessons have these just for funs that usually work fine motor skills. You can see here's another one up here that's different. It's groups of 10 and ones. So it's a very traditional approach. The pages are not busy, so if that's a distraction to your children, that's another thing that's nice about this one. So there's level 1. And let's open up level 2. Beginning looks the same. They give you a little more detail about what's going to be in each lesson. The first page in each of the chapter 2s includes a story thing, but we skip it. At the beginning of each lesson, instead of the practice with countings, they have different little quotes. Like they'll sometimes be a biblical saying or Bible verse. Sometimes there will be calendar related items. Kind of varies. They give the child a checklist here of what they need to do to complete their lesson. So that's kind of a little handy thing to get kids, start following lists. So you can see their new is marked here. So I'm counting by 3s. And then another new part. And then one more new part. And the rest is review type things. There's a fact focus each lesson. This one's on adding 9s. They do clocks. They actually start clocks in 1st grade. So nice to see that early. As you progress through the level 2, they start having the kids learn to copy the problems and put them in a vertical style, but I really like the way they do that with the box rectangles, just to guide the kids. And then there's that. One other thing that I would mark down as a con, at least in the levels we've used, is that they do not do the metric system. And my 7-year-old is very science oriented, so developing a good understanding of the metric system at a young age is important to us for him. As you can see, there's a pretty nice mixture of things in a lesson. You have, in this one, there's working with fractions, clock, the different facts, 2-digit, 3-digit, and then calendar work. So, nice variety. I think the reading level, if you have a child who's right at reading level, I think this is that the reading in here is quite on level, so that is good. In this one, the test is in here still, so it's a little longer than the quiz, but still quite reasonable length. Also, starting in level 2, they have the kids, after they complete their speed drill, they introduce them to different types of graphs and have them graph their score. So each one is different, so I liked that exposure to that. Okay. Like I said, they hold up pretty well. You can see this is one that we used while we were traveling, and so there's a little up here, but for the most part it's still in really good condition. So there is my spotlight on CLE Math. If you have any questions about this math, be sure to let me know and I will do my best to answer it. Since it is the curriculum shopping season, make sure you hit subscribe and so you don't miss any of the other ones. I'm going to try to put out one about every week, but maybe more like every other week. So, and go check out the playlist for the other ones that I have already done. And thanks for watching.